Session 1, Controlling Data Input with Data Validation and Self-Protection. Hi, this is Mark. This is Session 1, Data Validation. This is the spreadsheet we're going to be using for this entire series. In each session, we'll populate these cells as automatically as possible. Make sure you've downloaded the first spreadsheet titled Start Here. It should look exactly like this one. This first series focuses on making sure we get our data into the spreadsheet right. In this case, first we're going to make sure we put correct employment dates down, as we're going to use that later on to automate some cell population. And we want to make sure we're only using dates that other systems will accept as valid. Then we're going to populate some phone numbers. I'm very particular about having a spreadsheet that has a bunch of cells that are randomly formatted. So why don't we just force the phone number cells to look a certain way, like a phone number. So let's get started. Your Start Here spreadsheet should look exactly like this. There are two tabs down here. This is common, where we have the master tab. That's what we're working off of. Otherwise, it's normally called just sheet 1. Then we have a lookup tables tab. This is random data that I've brought in from maybe other spreadsheets or other things in order to really help us populate this. So let's look at employment date. The first thing we wanted to make sure is that you're only able to put in cells that match a certain range. They have to match certain dates. So I don't want to have to memorize those. I don't want to look up anywhere. I want it to tell me if I've got the right things or not. So let's highlight this range, just like that. Just mouse cursor down and highlight this range. Choose Data, Validation, Data Validation. And now it says my choices here. I have a number of things. Let's pick List. Now it's asking me, where is your source list? So click on the up arrow, switch over to lookup tables, and now here's my start dates. So I'm going to pick these, click this arrow, click OK. Now what you'll see is that in all of these cells, my only options are to pick one of those dates. If I decide I want to put in 07/23/19, it will say, sorry, that doesn't match, you can't do it, retry. And then pick one of the ones, so I have to cancel that, pick one that does exist. And now that's fully populated. So that's the first easy way to use data validation. I use that a lot of times when I'm trying to protect myself from doing the wrong things. So create a list. You can create any kind of list you want to map against. There's a number of other ways you can data validate. Let's just take a look at those real quick. You can data validate against, it must be a whole number, it must be a decimal, list is what we're using, it must be a date, it must be in time format, it can only be a certain length, or custom. We can use formulas in here, and we'll get to that in a more complex lookup later. So here's how this looks. We're looking lookup tables, B25 to B36. That's actually what our formula ended up looking like. Choose OK. That's now done, and we will now be able to just choose, and we'll use this data later on as we go down this, but I'm just going to pick some. This keeps you from having to type that in. That's the other benefit, is I can just choose as I go, and I don't have to worry about, number one, getting it wrong, and I don't have to worry about typing this over and over and over again. So it's as easy as scroll, choose, scroll, choose, scroll, complete. So what we used here was data validation. That data validation was found under the data part of the ribbon, under data tools, and it's data validation, and then data validation again. Now you can, if you're creating this for someone else to do data entry into, you can put an input message that shows the title. Let's just try this. Then you can also choose an error. The error says you must choose from one of the valid starting dates. So now let's see what this looks like. So now when my mouse is here, I see use proper employment data. See, that was what's in the title. Choose from the drop-down menu only for this cell. And when I put something in that's false, 01/01/2020, and 2020, you must choose from one of the valid starting dates. So very easily then I was able to not only set what dates can go in there, but also to give a little help for what is needed on this cell, and then to choose and customize my error message so that either I remember, oh yeah, I have to choose from one of these items, or someone else that didn't do this sheet can. So now let's look at phone number. We want to make sure that what we do on data entry matches our North American numbering plan. Specifically, we're looking for the 3 digits of the area code or the MPA, then we're looking for the NXX, the next 3 digits, and then we're looking for the station, which is typically the last 4 digits. So it typically goes number, dash, number, dash, number. Right? So let's follow that format here and ensure that we get that. So let's do a couple things. First, let's go to the Home tab, go to the number, and let's do a format of this, and let's do a custom format. Click on More Number Formats, then click Custom. And what we want to put in here is exactly what we want it to be, which is hashtag, 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 dash. This is so that we have the number sign. We have 3 numbers, dash 3 numbers, dash 4 numbers. 10 numbers altogether. Click OK. That's the first part. Now we have a number that looks like this. So now in our data validation, data validation, settings, let's make sure that it's a text length that is a minimum 10 and a maximum 10. This will ensure that you can only put 10 digits in. Now let's put in the input message. Follows normal phone number. Include the area code. Do not use dashes. Okay, let's try that. So here, now that we're going to put one in, let's try this. Follow normal phone number. Includes the area code. Do not use dashes. Alright, so let's actually try to put in a phone number now and see what happens. So let's start with an area code 815 where I live, and then just put in 7531234. Look at that. Automatically translated it into a phone number so that it's easy to read and doesn't end up looking like a whole bunch of junk. They're all going to be formatted the same. Now let's try it with not enough characters. 815 753 123. Got the error code. Now if you remember, we can adjust this error code. Let's cancel out of that. Let's highlight this range again. Choose data validation, and let's put an error message. The error message says you must only use 10 digits for this entry. No dashes or special characters. So let's try it again now. 815 753 123. Now I get the error message that's custom. You must use only 10 digits for this entry, no dashes or special characters. Retry 815 753 1235. Works perfect. So that's the end of this short lesson. I want you to try on your own to do what we did here, which is to use a lookup for data validation. That's the most common way to do data validation. And I want you to both do a custom input here as well as the data validation for what the input has to be. And then for both of those, try customizing the messages that you get, both for helping on the input as well as for the error that's received. When you're done, make sure you save this. I will save a new file called Employee Roster Session 1, and it will be part of the next session. So make sure you save yours when you're completed, and before we start the next one, you'll open Session 1, and you can check that against yours. I hope you enjoyed this quick lookup. Try the other pieces that are there as well, and just see what you come up with. Let me know. Thanks.